You'd be like the Silver Surfer.
I've got swagger for miles.
You'd be like flying through the cosmos and your glasses would fall into a black hole and you'd just be We'll just bring politics into this and outvote you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tables, Ladders and Chairs podcast, episode 6. I forgot again.
Hand gestures. It worked.
This week we're going to be talking about superstitions. Ooh, the exciting life of
Very superstitious.
Bow, 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 bow.
That was our musical instrument for the night, Mr. Ray Hewson.
I am the musical instrument.
We're also joined this week by Danny Craine.
Hello. It's still a terrible name. Can we, maybe something like the Tree Maker?
Name.
You'd like to be called the Tree Maker?
Yeah, I quite like it.
Name pending.
Yeah, I feel like, other people cut trees down, whereas I build trees.
Anyway,
yeah.
Where do we go from here? Right.
Well, Daredevil happened.
Oh yes, so this week Daredevil's been released, the second season, all on Netflix, all in one go for you binges. I don't like Daredevil, but these two, I've spent the last 2 days binging it and just watched everything that's come out.
Yeah.
So
I consumed it. That's how I don't want to call it binging. I consumed Daredevil.
You just make it sound like that's the difference between being obese and...
Oh, like the next level.
Yeah.
The consumer. Eater of worlds. No, it's...
Eater of Worlds.
Do you know what? It's a great show. Steff, you need to watch it. Some decent acting in there as well. But definitely
That's
one
the
to recommend.
minimum I expect from a programme I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I think...
Some acting.
When I watch it, though, it's one of those shows that you watch it and you don't ever really question its production values. There's at no point where it looks cheap or they've got a bad actor in because they can't really afford someone better or bad script writing. It's one of those real AAA shows. Like, I'd say like Breaking Bad's the same. They never really do anything that seems out of their comfort zone or budget level. Like, as much as I love The Flash, and it does some amazing things with its probably fairly smaller budget, like, you do see its budget show a lot in some episodes.
You've just caused me to find a flaw in the show.
Oh.
In Daredevil. We're talking about high production value and no mistakes. Now, can we talk about the last episode?
Yeah, it. Spoiler alert.
So, in the last bit, on the roof at the end, when they're fighting the hand, and you see various shots and different angles of tons of ninja, I suppose,
Yeah.
running, and like lots of them gathering, and it turns out to only be like 15 of them, like on the roof with them, but you see like a lot of them, like a lot more.
It's because they're ninjas.
Yeah, mate. Just self-explanatory. Don't be stupid.
No, but I mean, they were all crowding up on that roof, and then suddenly there's just 15 of them.
I know what you mean.
It makes no sense.
A ninja can sneak up on another ninja.
They just took the same 15 guys, had them run in from different directions, and then didn't explain where they went. Which is a shame, because I really enjoy the show, and I didn't want to find a flaw with it, but that's one thing that kind of bothers me now.
Yeah, okay. Well, you've ruined that for me now.
And for anyone who listened. Spoiler alert over.
So that was a bit weird, because obviously the main guy is blind, and that's quite a different idea. Ray, have you ever pretended to be blind?
I have, Steph. Funny you should mention that. Dredging up my past. So, I had like a week off when Daredevil Season 1 came out, and I locked myself away in this flat that I was staying in. Destroyed it. Watched the whole series. I ate nothing but Snyder's hot butter buffalo wing pretzel pieces. And
disgusting.
Drank tea.
What?
Right.
What diet is that?
It's not a diet, is what it is. I felt like it warped my mind because I didn't talk to people very often, and I definitely became removed from society. And I decided, in keeping with the spirit of the show, I would attempt to go a whole day blindfolded to see if I could do it, because I'd stayed in that flat for like a few months already, and I knew my way around. And I tried it. I banged my shins a few times.
Did you also try practicing law? And vigilante justice?
You're there watching Judge Judy with like the fucking volume down.
And he just had a gavel out.
One step at a time, guys. One step at a time. Okay.
So now he's going to pretend to be a ninja.
But it was one of those things I became so removed from the real world, and it was disgusting. I surprised I came back from that, and I just want to let the listener know I can see perfectly fine now. As I've not blindfolded myself like an absolute moron. Thank you for bringing that up, Steff.
It's fine, it's one of my favourite stories.
There's two stories about me you bring up all the time when we're out at a pub and you're introducing new people.
I know.
It's that story, and it's the obese story.
I've never heard either of them. Well, I've heard one of them now. So
You did, you experienced that.
Give me the obese story.
Joke. It started as a joke. I was thinking, what if I was actually fat, really fat, and I have a condition where I think I'm not fat, similar to anorexia, where they think
Body
they're fat.
dysmorphia.
Yeah, body dysmorphia. And I thought, what if I did have that, and no one was telling me because no one had the heart to tell me, like, Ray, you're a little big. You need to cut down on.
The cheeseburgers, mate.
I was going to say the Snyder's pretzel
Snyder's
pieces,
pretzel
but
pieces.
petrol pieces.
Yeah.
All part of a balanced breakfast.
Yeah, so I thought about it, and then it became something I was genuinely conscious of when I would move past someone and they would take like a wide berth around me. And at first I thought maybe it would smell or something, but it wasn't. I thought, okay, maybe I'm actually quite large, and like people don't realise.
And me, like a true friend.
Abused it. And
It's bully the fat kid.
And so it became part of my shtick, apparently, that every time I would step past someone, they would step further away deliberately to mess with me. Thank you.
This is brilliant.
Hysterical.
This is Ray's therapy session.
Literally for like 3 months. It's like every time like Ray was doing something, I'd be like, piling on those pounds, Ray. Jesus Christ. Come on, mate.
Second on the lips, lifetime on the hips. You know it.
Well, there's one time we were in a bar, and like he tried to sneak in, and I moved the table really far away so he could get in.
Jesus Christ.
You're going to bring me to tears. You're horrible people. Don't you hear yourselves? Anyway, I'm totally over it, and I'm over the blind thing. So
Can you just imagine if you were that fat and blind at the same time?
So anyway, this week we also checked out 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I can review in one word. Loud.
Yeah.
Very loud.
It's literally just like they'll close and slam a door and your ear will just be like, it's just a sharp pain in your ear and it's oh.
I remember after one of the set pieces, and there was a loud bang. All I could hear after it was in my ear. It was really bad.
It is a movie that can give you tinnitus, I reckon.
It's acoustically dominant, and it was painful to listen to.
But it's good because the majority of that film is very claustrophobic, very suspense-filled. So when you do hear a very loud bang, it makes you jump.
Yeah.
It's great sound design, though. Great sound design.
Stuff, yeah.
Like, just the fact that metal door sounded like a girl screaming whenever it opened. And doing a gesture which no one can see.
But then it's also...
I enjoyed that gesture, right? That was brilliant.
But it's also kind of, spoiler alert, quite telling. Like, the door opening is a girl screaming.
Oh, considering the past of that room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, there's a lot of detail in that film. I'm not even sure if it's detail, because there's a lot of random things in there, because without divulging too far into the actual script, there's horrific backstory, which gets glazed over, I guess, I presume. It's like a lot happened in a short space of time, and involved really only 3 real characters and some dead woman. And
it did keep you guessing the whole time. Like, at first you think, how can this story stay fresh the whole time? Like, what's going to happen? They're just going to play happy family in this shelter. But it keeps shifting who you like in the film and who you trust, and I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, so a lot of controversy around the end of the film and the last 10 minutes, especially in 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the fact that some people found it jarring.
Yeah, I was among those people. It's still a very good film. It's worth watching, but I found it just too much of a tonal shift at the end of it. It's a very different film, and I just feel with even just a bit of editing, it could be a lot better.
Fair. I'm not going to argue with that. We had very differing opinions, but you managed to tiptoe and politically sort of align your ways into me agreeing with you a little bit there.
Yep.
God damn you.
There is a massive genre swing. Ray doesn't agree, but there is
God,
a
there it
massive
is.
genre swing. Although it's directed the same way, the whole plot changes. It's a completely different film. It's like Psycho, right? Because at the beginning of Psycho, it's mainly like a bank robbery job and turns into like a slasher horror film right at the end. And that's pretty much what this is. Essentially, they're two different films coming together at once. But the last 20 minutes
It was
a
like
complete abstract concept.
it's like what you were saying earlier, though. It would have worked a lot better if they'd have just incorporated those elements a bit earlier into the film.
Yeah, I mean, the start of the third act would be an ideal place. But just to prove my point, I want the listener to rewind 5 minutes and listen to Steff describe the movie as a claustrophobic thriller, which it was throughout the entire film, including the last 10 minutes.
Until it turned into an alien invasion. Movie.
Including after the invasion, mate.
Yeah, it was still being filmed the same way, but
The plot didn't change, which it blatantly did.
The plot's meant to change. It's the genre that stayed the same.
The genre didn't.
right, it went from being kind of maybe light sci-fi to hard sci-fi, I'd say.
I don't disagree with that. That's fine.
Yeah, because at first something science fiction-y's happened outside.
Yeah, there's been an attack of some kind.
Yeah,
But even that, it makes you doubt constantly whether it is.
yeah,
We sort of know because of the marketing for it. You know, it wouldn't be a cop-out.
yeah.
They wouldn't just turn out to be a guy locking someone in. I feel like we're divulging way too much about this film.
it.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it. It's actually like we're discussing it, and we're not really discussing it because in a positive aspect and what it could have been and what should have happened or could have happened. It's not like when we saw that film Poltergeist and we talked about it purely because we were ripping the into it.
Oh, so easily as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're talking so much about it and debating is a testament to the film. And it was J.J. Abrams,
who stand by his amazing record of making a good beginning, good middle, and a end.
in
Well
classic
done, JJ.
in classic style.
He's talented.
He is talented.
He
He
cannot think of a good ending.
And a fantastic grimace. He certainly grimaced in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
the man can breathe heavily better than anyone I know. Just the heavy grunting, just all throughout the film. Very imposing. And you know what? Because it was a 12A or whatever it was in America, they implied sexual assault without actually going there, which was enough because it was
Yeah.
terrifying. You didn't know if he was that kind of creep or
That's
not.
the kind of thing in films like that where you don't necessarily need to see it. You can leave it to your imagination.
It was a lot more unsettling because it
Yeah.
didn't really paint a complete picture.
Like your mind can do all the work with things like that. Do you ever seen those early Star Trek films? Right, the programs, especially the Battle of Wolf 263. Okay, all right. It's when the Borg invaded. Okay, but you don't actually see the invasion. You don't actually see the war. You only hear it through Picard's radio, and it just leads your mind to think, what the fuck was going on there? And then eventually Picard gets there and the whole place is desolate, it's destroyed. But it's just your mind doing all the work going, oh my god, this place sounds like a war zone. And really, like, you'd have seen ships blown up and you'd been like, oh, that was alright. But in your mind, you were like, hell, that place looks sunny.
Steff, I'm going to have to interrupt you.
Oh.
Going to the news van. We are the
It's been
news.
an extremely slow week for news this week, so I've really had to dig deep for this one. And it's only vaguely funny, just because I'm a driver.
Can I just say, vaguely funny? That should be the tagline of our podcast.
Vaguely funny.
Might get a giggle.
Right. Like I said, very slow news week, as it always is at the minute, because Scott Stapp's been, like, sane for some reason.
He's been taking his meds.
Very unfortunate. It's probably fortunate. Anyway, the only
And they're
funny
not taking him higher.
Oh, Scott Stapp. Anyway, the only funny thing I can find in the news this week is basically there's I'm just going to read the headline. A driver returns to his car to find an offensive note about his parking skills, along with a present.
What was the present, Steff?
And the note actually reads, "Nice parking. Please don't reproduce." With a condom. Sellotape to it.
Wow.
I don't know where I stand on this because it's a passive-aggressive note.
Very
I hate passive-aggressive notes. But it's very witty with a condom.
But that just makes you think, is it nature-nurture that makes you bad at parking? Is it in your nature to be bad at it, or is it something you're raised to do?
It's a little reactive to tell that person not to reproduce.
He might have a motor neuron disease.
Yeah, and he might already be sterile.
You can't tell a disabled person not to reproduce just because they're disabled. That's Nazism.
Yeah.
Wait, so sorry, this person was in a disabled parking space?
They obviously didn't know who the hell they were.
But this person was?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay, right. I'm making a story out of nothing now. I'm very self-conscious. I think like a note like that would really throw me off.
I feel like I'd probably just want to start reproducing straight away, just to spite the bar.
There on the car.
Yeah.
I like to think that they used... Either they had a box of condoms with them and whipped one out and put it there, or they used their wallet condom.
Well, like...
The one that might have been in there for a little too long and you can't guarantee the quality of it anymore.
Well, like... If someone's parking has annoyed you enough to write a really passive-aggressive note, I think you need to reevaluate your life.
Were they parked across like two spaces or something?
Fine.
Yeah, but you said you were bad at parking, so what's your definition of fine?
We have two non-drivers and one...
As long as you're in the lines, it's fine.
Okay.
As long as you're in the lines, it's fine. He looks to be in the lines, he looks fine. This week we're going to be discussing superstitions. Don't sing.
Bum, 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 bum.
Get more deaf, blind people. Steve, you wonder deaf or blind?
He was blind.
Why did I think he was deaf?
Yeah. I know there's like a deaf DJ, isn't there? And he feels the vibrations.
Mozart.
Yeah. DJ Mozart.
There was a DJ called DJ EZ.
Easy.
Yeah,
no, EZ.
He must be British if he says Z instead of Z.
DJ Easy, pronounced EZ.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I
apologise. I told you he was British. That's why he says Z.
DJ EZ. Idiot.
Maybe Easy was taken, so he had to kind of...
Anyway, this week we're going to be talking about superstitions and how stupid they are. Or I will be anyway. Mr. Craine, would you like to go first with yours?
Yeah, I'll start by talking about, well, what I think is probably the most common one, be the number 13, and how unlucky that is.
Bearing in mind, you spent an entire life being an entire year being
13. An entire life.
In some ways, Danny's still 13 years old.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people regard 13...
Sorry.
Shut up, Steff.
Where does this guy start?
A lot of people regard the number 13... Jesus. Okay, so a lot of people regard the number 13 as unlucky, and I'm just going to get to where I think it ultimately came from. Friday the 13th is an unlucky day, and you've got Baker's Dozens, which is kind of like the whole concept of making an extra one is a quality control measure, so you're just expecting to go wrong, so the number 13 is kind of synonymous with that. It seems like its origins are kind of linked to religion. Like, initially I thought it would be, from what I remember, it was connected to Christianity demonizing paganism, because in the pagan calendar there were 13 months, whereas in the Christian calendar there's 12 months. Yeah, so when, Christianity was spreading, it was, they were just, 13's bad, totes.
I'm an advocate of blaming the church.
Blame them. And, but then if you look into it a bit more, you see a bit more in Christianity, so such as at the Last Supper, there were 13 people there, with the last and 13th on the table being Judas. And of course, he wasn't a very nice man.
Well,
I've heard bad things about this guy.
Yeah, so that's where it could come from in the Christian faith. But then there's parallels to be drawn within Norse mythology, where they pretty much got almost the exact same story as Christianity. So pretty much at supper, the 13 gods attended, the 13th being Loki, being the Judas of the situation, engineers a situation where the most loved god of all, Balder, Jesus in this situation, pretty much gets killed accidentally because he was so loved that he was enchanted to never fall from the mightiest sword or anything like that. And he just he's able to get someone to throw some holly at him, and then rolls a dice.
Holly.
Yeah, it was holly.
Did he step on it? When you step on Holly, it's a piece of
It's like Lego or a plug.
Nature's Lego.
Yeah. And he eventually gets resurrected like Christ. You know, that's where supposedly 13 could have come up from as an unlucky number from European religion. But then it's just, and then I think one of the funniest ones is just 13 is the age you become a teenager. We all know teenagers are dead.
Aren't they just? My
Yeah.
13-year-old friend.
Yeah, I'm dead. A hairy dead.
Oh, you don't want that part of the to be hairy. No one does.
It's just a hairy shaft.
This is a horrible conversation.
It's like a landing strip.
Well, let's face it, numbers in superstition, it's not something based just in Europe. You do have China with the number 4.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the floor.
Yeah,
four.
they get rid of the 13th floor in kind of more Western cultures. Like a lot of buildings don't have 13th floors. And what was it? Which Asian country is it?
China.
China, yeah. So in China, it's 4 floors they get rid of. And it's just such a bizarre thing. It just doesn't kind of make business sense to be...
Well, I mean, they're not actually wasting the floor, are they? They are just changing the number.
Yeah, but it's still stupid.
No, it is. If they were literally wasting the floor, then I would completely agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of insane how just a number, and so much on Friday the 13th, so much like business is lost because people won't plan weddings and stuff or anything like. It's like you get massive like losses in any kind of economy, well, Western economy on like Friday the 13th. It's insane. But we still hold on to these weird beliefs.
Yeah, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because people are just doubting themselves and doubting whether to do something on that day.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. I'll admit that. That's silly.
I genuinely feel as though I got all my anger out earlier. I have nothing to say on the matter
He
anymore.
seems so peaceful.
I know.
Steff is at peace. In a good way. He's not... He's still with us.
I'm not as angry at the minute. But no, the idea that a number... But no, the idea that, you know... The idea that, you know, associating a day with bad luck... You know, people will find that because you're just looking for it.
You're more self-aware, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, if you stub your toe on Friday the 13th, or, you know, you drop money down the couch and you can't find it, you're like, oh, it's Friday the 13th.
You do this all year round, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think one of the favourite things when I was doing my research, is actually, there was apparently in the late 1800s a club called the 13 Club. And pretty much people joined it to tempt the out of fate.
Sounds like a Disney thing.
Yeah, but so basically the whole idea was to debunk the whole myth of 13 being unlucky. So it'd be 13 people sitting at a table, and then
That's a lot of people.
They met on the 13th of every month, and it was just like if they were late, they were fined 13 cents, and they were like legitimate famous historical figures like American presidents that were members of that club. Oh, Chester A. Arthur, Theodore Roosevelt, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, all members.
Damn, they know how to pull in the names, don't they?
Yeah, but you know, I think 1 or 2 of them did get shot, but we're not going to blame the 13
Roosevelt
Club for
became
that.
a president.
Yeah, he got shot when he was campaigning for his like 3rd term.
Oh, he did.
Didn't he get polio? Is that
he was
Roosevelt?
born. No, he was born.
with polio.
with
He was
it.
born with polio.
Yeah, he was.
You were born polio.
Was he born on the 13th?
Might have been. I'll look it up.
Quickly look it up.
I doubt it. If he was born on the 13th, I take it.
I've got like a 1 in 29, 30, 31 chance of...
What happened?
You got a 1 in 365 chance, surely.
No, because there's
lots
more
of
than 1
13s.
13. There's a 12 in 365 chance.
No, Franklin or Theodore? Which one are we talking about?
Theodore Franklin. He was born on 14th.
Oh!
I suppose you say he dodged a bullet there, not like when he got shot.
No, I didn't.
Awkward. Okay, that's some witty presidential banter right there.
Yeah, but I just love the idea that like in an age where you'd still say people are still very religious and a lot more. Well, they still believe in a lot of superstitions. There's just a bunch of like powerful people just with it,
Mocking
the whole concept.
And the thing is, I think we all do it. I mean, if one of us sees it's Friday the 13th, someone will make a comment.
Yeah.
As soon as they find out, their face lights up. Hey, mate, Friday the 13th. Oh, and you just want to deck him in the face.
Why does it turn you both into football hooligans in this situation?
I just turn it,
It's Friday the 13th, mate. We got to talk about this today.
turn Cockney all of a sudden.
What, guys?
But Dick Van Dyke Cockney,
Oh,
What,
The-
skipping.
the false cock.
false cock. The dildo. Dildo tongue.
With a name like Dick Van Dyke, I think
It's almost
dildo is a synonymous word.
Van Dyke has just got two funny words in it.
Van is such a funny word.
Definitely.
We make fun of Dick Van Dyke. Did anyone see him dancing last week?
He's got
He's
some moves.
90. He is 90. I can't move like that now.
As people say, he was throwing the shapes.
I threw a rhombus once. It's my favourite shape to throw. After the isosceles triangle. Okay, and that's what I have to say about 13. And that's all I have to say about that.
I feel like that's the most well-known. I think the origin isn't well-known. It's a bit up in the air.
It's very
actually.
ambiguous, yeah.
Mm.
It seems like it's probably from religion.
Shame.
Boom.
Shame.
Shame. See,
People get really annoyed. We bring that into like every episode, and it's hilarious. It's become an in-joke now.
oh, shame.
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 Where's it come from?
It's from Game
Scott.
of Thrones.
It's from Game of Thrones, but Scott brought it into the podcast, and it just stayed.
I can't remember that part.
There's a lot of build-up to that happening, and then it happens.
Mm.
What, him yelling shame?
Oh.
There's thousands, tens of thousands of people shouting shame.
Anyway, moving on. Right, so I don't even know if the word is favourite superstition or least favourite superstition. This most superstition that drives me angry the most is just those people that step on the cracks on the floor or avoid stepping on the cracks on the floor because, as Ray sang earlier,
Step on a crack, break your mother's back. Is that what I said?
yes, it's a despicable idea.
Who would do that?
Who would break their own mother's back?
Brain. I was wondering what would break first, your mother or this pavement.
Right, thank you for that.
I'm torn. I love Bane, and I hate what you just did.
But of course.
It's a diabolical superstition.
Take control. Take control of your titty.
Anyway, so it's just those people that, and you know, how far did I get to describing last time before you popped in? Never mind. Just those people that believe that's either bad luck to you or, you know, a member of your family. And I hate those people. I just, like, it's filling in me right now, the anger I have for these people, because I'm just reliving moments in my life where I've been walking in a straight line and some cretin in front of me has just stumbled into my way or out of my way or made me change my course just because they don't want to step on a crack in the floor. If you don't have confidence in your own walking path, right, to see a crack and go, no, if I step in that, I'll definitely fall, don't walk. Then I just hate people like that.
But surely it just comes from the concept of you don't want to be stepping on ground that doesn't look safe. Like,
It's safe.
well,
It's there.
But I want to go back to you said about changing your course.
Well, I'm walking, right?
You're not a schooner, okay? You can easily maneuver.
Maritime.
Listen, right? I am walking, right? If I'm walking somewhere, I don't aimlessly walk anymore. If I'm walking somewhere, I just want to get there. I choose a path. If there's people in the way, I'll bend around that path, and I'll just make a one straight path to the place where I need to be.
plot a course.
And that's all I want of my day of walking, or when I'm around people, and they don't know what they're doing, so I'm playing on their phones, and they're walking into me and having conversations and annoying me. And then, you know, everything's going fine. I'm on my course, and then, you know, there's just some idiot who just feels the need to stop and walk around this crack in the floor. Why? Or won't be able to step on 4 drains in a row, so they do this weird jump that makes them look like they're fucking special.
Steph, to quote Dave Grohl, I have a confession to make.
You're not, Ray. Please tell me you're not.
Although I don't believe in superstitions. I was going to say hallucinations then.
I believe in hallucinations.
I don't believe in superstitions, but I do appreciate symmetry, and
I like straight lines.
I have to walk on an even amount of like those manhole covers in a row or those drains in a row. Otherwise, it bothers me. If I step on 1 out of 3, that'll bother me. I have to step on all 3 or none of them, and I will change my path. I
was
will
gonna say,
shuffle.
would you change your course Would you? Would
My course is straight and true.
if you were walking at a certain pace and you go, actually, my pace is far too sturdy for what I need to attain here, would you adjust?
I would definitely
For
adjust.
f***'s sake.
Bit of an interesting fact, a bit off topic. I mentioned hallucinations. I once had a hallucination when I was a
I
child.
thought you were walking.
I was walking, yeah, no.
Were you blind at this?
I had a very well-sighted hallucination that I was on EastEnders, and whoever was the killer at the time was trying to kill me. And I was running around the house. I was adamant I was being attacked. I was hiding in places and like knocking into things. Like it terrified my mum. It was a really weird hallucination that I had, and all based around EastEnders. Sorry, I thought I'd just put that in there.
What caused it?
It was a fever. I had like a really bad. I was really ill, and
Night
EastEnders was
fever.
on.
I had. Wow. I had a scary hallucination once. Yeah, no, I had this when I was living in my old flat. I got a really high temperature for like a week or two, and I got this weird scary hallucination, which like still like gives me shivers to this day. Where I would just sort of wake up in my room and it was dark, obviously, because it was nighttime. But I'd be convinced that my housemates kept opening and closing the door, and that they were actually plotting to kill me.
Jesus.
And they were just opening the door every now and again and staring in and staring at me to see if I was dead yet. And I was convinced in my mind of this hallucination that they were definitely trying to kill me. And they were just waiting for me to go so they could just hide the body. And I was convinced of that. It gives me shivers to this day because I really remember it really vividly, and it really freaked me out for a couple of days. Literally to the point where like, I'd wake up I'd wake up in the morning and like I just didn't want to talk to them.
I like to think that you believed that you were like their wealthy grandpa who had like a really big inheritance.
Scrooge
It was-
McDuck.
Thank you. It was, like looking back on it, it very much is like the Telltale Heart by like Alan Poe. Is like I was convinced these people were going to kill me, and I could see the onset of the killers right there, and I could feel my heart racing through it. It was quite scary. So yeah, I understand where you come from, Ray. I don't understand being chased by Ian Beale, but
We have a connection. I don't think it was Ian Bill. It wasn't Phil Mitchell. He's the only other one I can remember from EastEnders.
I only two people.
It wasn't
Let's
Pat
count.
Butcher. So anyway, that's one thing I did admittedly do. As despicable as you think it is. Do we know the origins of this?
Well, I can't really find any origins bar that little nursery rhyme of step on a crack and break your mother's back.
When was that first made?
I don't have a clue. Like,
Who's the original artist?
I don't know. I've scoured the internet and I can't find any origin for the actual nursery rhyme itself.
Is there a B-side to go along with it?
Probably Ring Around the Rosie.
Nothing like plague music to get you going.
Music. Yeah, that's a fun knowledge fact, ladies and gentlemen. Danny didn't know earlier that Ring Around the Rosie is actually a song about the plague.
Nope, I don't tend to sing children's nursery rhymes, so...
Even as a child.
Not really. I wasn't really
He's
a
not
child.
a child or a serial killer. You'd make a mean beatbox.
Me and Danny did karaoke once.
Oh, he's done karaoke many a time.
We did Men in Black.
Yeah.
And he just Chuck D'd the entire thing.
I went through a phase of just doing karaoke, and I wouldn't quite work out how to sing the song because I hadn't listened to it so long, so I just do it in the style of Chuck D.
I had a very interesting experience with your karaoke when we went out drinking and we ended up in the bottom of the plug hole of Carmarthen, the place where the night goes to die, the Golden Lion, and I sobered up. I mean, you were doing karaoke at the time, and you were singing "Common People" by Jarvis Cocker.
Technically by Pulp, but I'll give you that. I sing lots of good karaoke songs. I
You
used
don't?
to sing "I Want to Be Like You," from the Jungle Book.
Mm-hmm. So I had this moment of clarity. I sobered up. I was sitting there, staring straight forward, listening to your rendition, and I didn't even say goodbye. I just walked out of the pub and went home. Not even a word said. Just hearing you just slaughtering it.
Hey mate, in my world, I was Jarvis himself, headlining the Pyramid Stage in 1995 at Glastonbury.
I never really thought about it, but there's a huge difference when it comes to singing between slaughtering a song and killing it. See, killing it
I took
is
that
often
song to the
used as
abattoir.
it's often used as a positive term.
Yeah,
He killed it. But
can't
if you
sing.
slaughtered that song,
I slaughter every song I sing.
Yeah, but
you
that's
vegetarian, you.
So are you trying to say there's a lot of grace in killing, but in slaughtering you're just being sloppy?
Exactly.
The killing is an art. Serial killer Ray.
You can't have slaughter without laughter.
Oh.
Essentially, if you're one of those people, stop doing it. And if you see me walking and you do want to be one of those people, get behind me.
Can we please mock up a Steff Hughes 2020 t-shirt?
I tell you what, right? I remember this once. I was walking with a girl, right? And it was down Jail Hill, and there's a 3-man hook over there, and she pulled me into the road because she didn't want to walk on the third thing.
Are you sure she wasn't trying to get rid of you?
Just throw you out to the traffic.
This date isn't going how I expected. Here's a great excuse.
Literally just remembered that, and it got me angry again.
You got really angry, man. So that's your piece, is it?
That's my piece.
Okay.
Last but not least, the Invisible Man, Raymond Hewson, and your piece.
You can't see me. John's seen a gesture.
And if anything.
Helen Keller couldn't see you.
This is getting dangerous.
We're just gonna get like, I don't know. The Helen Keller fan club are just gonna slate us. I suppose bad press is press.
Do you think the Helen Keller fan club has more than 32 likes?
Well, maybe. Yeah, but we could be like the Donald Trump of podcasts, hated but somehow have...
Still achieving success?
Yeah. And nobody knows how. Well, it's just because we're spreading hate.
There's this horrible rhetoric that we're just laying out for everyone. I want to make podcasts great again. Donald Trump for you there.
We're not doing that very well. Anyway, so Ray, your superstition.
My superstition is titled "Sea in the Sky."
I'm already angry.
It's maritime because I'm going by the logic of go maritime or go home.
I'm with you so far.
He's aroused. He's peaked.
You have my you have my curiosity.
It's a very difficult one to describe, and I was trying to describe it earlier and I completely botched it. I'm going to start with examples of this and then go into a bit more detail about where it came from, which is similar to the way you guys did it. So, example number 1 of 2. I'm very prepared. This is in an English village on a Sunday.
This is just like you're setting the scene.
I am setting the scene. It's overcast. People see an anchor wrapped around a tombstone. There's a rope
in the graveyard.
In the graveyard,
right? And
there's a rope going straight up into the clouds.
Okay,
that's taut. It's not loose at all. People are freaked out by this. Understandably, they gather around. Eventually, they see a guy crawl down the rope, and they grab him. It doesn't say why, but they grab him. They pull him off this rope once he climbs near the bottom, and he apparently immediately dies. And in their words, suffocated by the humidity of our dense air, as if he were drowning at sea. And eventually the rope was cut from above, but all throughout this, they're hearing noises that sound like sailors up above in the clouds.
This man sounds like a idiot.
There's lots of people who are there to corroborate this story, and it's often used as evidence of UFO sort of interactions. But this is that sounds more like a conspiracy, but that's one example of this. It's quite creepy, the idea.
So it's just a normal boat, like a rowboat, a schooner, a ship that's just dicking around up there like stardust.
It got caught accidentally on a tombstone. The guy went down to try and loosen it. Died.
Why is boats driving around with its anchor down?
Yeah, what business is up in the sky?
I'm not even into that part yet.
Are they just...
We'll get there. Anyway, example 2, just to give you an idea of how this works. Okay, there was a merchant who was out at sea, and he'd been out there for a while.
The real sea or the sky sea?
The real sea, and he accidentally dropped his knife in the ocean, and within that very hour, the same knife flew through his wife's window and landed on the table.
No, it didn't.
Hundreds of miles away.
No, it didn't.
Are you sure it wasn't just a cheap replica?
Are you sure she wasn't hated by someone?
It must be real because they FaceTimed afterwards or something. No, so that's like another thing about it. But the idea is developed by a guy called Gervais of Tilbury, of Essex origins. So you know it's going to be good.
It's legit.
Too legit to quit. This guy, he was born in a manor.
Essex. Was he on speed?
I don't think speed was around at the time.
It's an opium
That
fiend.
many amphetamines just around. Anyway, so he
Probably
was
quite a bit around, actually.
Yeah, they love their amphetamines.
13th century?
Oh, yeah.
No, not 13th century. Surely not.
Opium of the people.
So He was born in this manor owned by Henry II, and he became a traveller, and he was a scholar and a cleric, and he liked to sort of spin his own rhetoric, similar to Donald Trump. And he was in Italy entertaining a Caesar. I want to say his name's Otis. I went. Otis is the natural progression for the name of a Caesar. Anyway,
Caesar Otis.
So he was told to write essentially an encyclopedia, which was really more of like a book about entertaining this guy. Now, this will link back to what I was talking about, don't worry. So the book was titled The Otia Imperialia, which means recreation for an emperor. It was essentially just a book made to amuse this guy, but it was meant to be based on science and logic and fact, which is what he was trying to spin at the time.
So it's like Scientology.
Ooh.
Or are we going to get attacked by the Church of Scientology now?
Tom Cruise is a weird middle tooth.
Tom Cruise just like drops down.
In case you didn't know it, Tom Cruise, tooth right down the middle, one tooth. His teeth are out of alignment, so rather than having like the split in his the two front teeth in the middle.
Have you ever seen it?
No, I don't want to, because I won't be able to unsee it.
You can't unsee
it. Like...
So the concept, he started the basis of this logic was that the sea is higher than the land, and he got that from where a lot of these theories tend to come from, the Bible. Genesis 1, waters above the firmament. It's like a quote that he took and then ran with. But it became this superstition that things lost at sea sort of manifest themselves in the sky and fall from the sky. It's a really weird thing where people were told, like, do not drop things in the ocean. As a sailor, it's bad luck. But it's like a really odd...
It's obviously bad luck. You've lost it forever.
You can imagine...
It is bad luck.
Imagine the guy...
It's not even luck.
Is that how, like, you could, like, scientifically explain, like, Sharknadoes? And...
The true explanation we've been waiting for. I feel like you could get rid of your wife in a pretty good way. Just keep throwing knives into the ocean until eventually one sticks. Yeah. But... It was really odd. It came out of nowhere, and it's one of those maritime superstitions.
It's not one I've ever heard of. There's a lot of superstition about sea. I think, as we discussed last week, there's a lot of superstition that being consumed by the ocean, being developed into Davy Jones's lockers, all that. I've never heard of dropping into the ocean and falling
sea
out.
in the sky. Where's the sky start, Steff?
Where does the sky start, right?
The sky starts on the floor.
True facts.
Bizarre one.
I can tell I've thrown both of you off with it because it was so weird, and the fact that story was corroborated by so many people.
It was a long, long time ago, though.
Oh yeah, 13th century. It was no, that wasn't 13th century. That was
when was the
later
anchor?
On. The anchor thing happened. I think it was 1800s. But
they were still idiots back then.
So yeah, in summary, sea in the sky, and that whole idea about dropping things in the ocean.
So why is the ocean never caved in on us? So why is the ocean never literally come
because
to
the
us?
atmosphere. I don't think it's meant to be
supposed to be why it rains as well. Is that connected to why people assumed it rained? Or...
In the Bible, they mention the word firmament. Now, firmament is sort of everything. So you have like sky, then space. That's the edge of the firmament, although space wasn't really acknowledged in terms of the Bible.
Yeah.
So the firmament, imagine it like this ball around the world. And then above that is where you are on this different plane of existence in this reality in the ocean. As soon as you step into that plane, that's where you go. And it's an indeterminate height. That's why the boat thing, it's not explained well, but it's an interesting concept, and I did a lot of reading into it, as you can tell.
So you're telling me some guy came down. So this boat is obviously This ship is obviously a ship on the ocean, yes?
I assume so.
That's anchored itself and got stuck.
It seems like, yes, it was tangled around a tombstone.
And their way to do rid of this was to send a man down to the
They used to do that.
Of the ocean to untangle it.
They used to do that. When it was shallow waters, they would send someone down, like physically holding the rope, holding their breath, going down there to try and see if they can unhook it from the coral or whatever it was that was holding it down.
Usually hit a reef.
I just out-maritimed the maritime chief. Oh, my back really hurts.
And that's what you get.
I'm holding up the weight of the maritime law here.
Sounds like your back's breaking. You're someone's mother.
I'll step on your crack.
I'll step on your mum.
Oh.
Well, that's the main event anyway. And
Should we decide a winner, then go fun fact?
Yeah, that's up to you. Oh, go winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
I don't eat chicken.
Winner, corn dinner.
It's not got the same ring to it, is it?
It's also not very nice. No, actually, when I made that spaghetti bolognese for you with the corn, it was actually really, really good. I was surprised. You just watched us eat it as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was
It's a spectator sport.
All right, okay, guys.
Right.
So
Who am I voting for? I don't know. As amusing it is to see Steff kind of go off on one about anything.
and everything.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That kind of, it's just, I'm not sure what we're putting the basis on winning on this time, because Steff's just stupid. Yours is just
It's the thing is, if it's a superstition, it's like the most outlandish. And,
the
you know,
superstition
it's...
seems to be, don't drop things at sea, because that's bad luck.
It's
to
this,
the bottom of the ocean.
it's this
like,
whole
this is
Terry
bad luck.
Pratchett sort of
Discworld.
world. Yeah, sort of. It really intrigued me in a different way, but I completely understand. It's a bit unorthodox. If you don't want to count it, don't count it.
I just honestly don't know, and to be honest, I've got to block you this week simply so you don't get your title.
Come on.
I don't think you. No, you definitely found the most obscure, and I'll give you.
It wasn't deliberate.
And I'll give you that. Like it was interesting, but I don't know.
Does that mean you're voting Friday the 13th?
I think I might vote for my own again.
Oh,
I'm gonna be that.
he's a terrible human being.
We're all terrible human beings. Just
Raymond, who does your vote go to?
well, we haven't even decided who's Danny's gone for yet.
Yes, he went for his own.
You did go for your own.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you agreed.
That's why I call him a terrible human being.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it depends on what we're classing it as.
That's the thing. If we're going for most obscure, you definitely get that.
Thank you for the side award you've given me.
You get
Best supporting.
good
the participation prize.
Can we give Ray a good job clap there? Just like,
I feel like this is the Montreal screw job right now. The idea of the cracks in the floor, that sort of thing.
you're one of them.
I am one of them. But I'm not, though, that's the thing.
You're worse than them.
Fine, I'll vote for you. You peer pressure
You're
me into
worse than them. You realise that. You do it because you want to.
it. I do it because I have to.
Jesus Christ.
I'm voting Steff Hughes.
Thank you.
He's pressured me into it. Just to lay the stakes here, if Steff votes Danny, Danny wins the title. If Steff votes Steff, Steff wins the title. If Steff votes me, the title becomes, well, up in the air, I suppose, and it's no one's.
Shared.
Not shared, I think it's just no one's.
We could all like have it for a few days.
Like the son we never wanted.
I'm afraid I have to vote for me. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, you absolute.
Neither of us can judge him because we both won the title the exact same way by voting for ourselves.
Yeah. I feel like maybe once we've got a bigger viewership, we'll let the people decide.
That was the idea, definitely, once we have enough people. So, ladies and gentlemen, your new TLC champion of the world, Steff Hughes.
Decent.
Goodbye.
And here's Danny with a fun fact.
Okay, so today's fun fact is actually going to be in relation to Daredevil.
No.
So, fun fact. So in Marvel Comics, they pretty much wanted to use like crime families, you know, cliche villains to put in comics is to use, you know, pre-existing, you know, crime families. So they wanted to put the Mafia in, but they actually couldn't do this because the Mafia owned enormous shares in Marvel Comics at the time.
Bull.
No, true. So instead, they created a crime family called the Magia, and they became like one of the de facto crime families in Marvel Comics. And I believe Daredevil's fought them, and Spider-Man's fought them. But
Oh my god, I've just corroborated it.
so yeah, that's my fun fact for the week.
The Magia, fictional international crime syndicate. God damn.
They literally just changed one letter.
No, it's double G.
Why don't they just have the triads?
It's double G.
Well, it was in the 1960s. I don't think they were as aware of the triads in America then.
Guess not.
So, if we wrap up?
All right, folks. Well, cheers for listening again. You obviously have no spare time. Not too much of it.
We should do some plugs.
I was going to say plug. So we have a Facebook page. We're on iTunes now as well, so you can actually hit the little subscribe button.
We have one review.
Oh, do we?
Which is awesome. It's 5 stars.
Oh, check us out.
I wonder who did that.
There's no one in this room. Actually.
It wasn't actually anyone in this room, to
Wow,
be fair.
we haven't even reviewed ourselves.
Is that a thing we should do?
I feel like we should, just at first.
Yeah, okay, so, we got Facebook, we got Twitter.
We've got
Why do I sound like I'm selling it to you?
We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got
Oh, look,
iTunes
it's
brand.
Billy Mays.
Like I said, so we're on iTunes. You can subscribe, you can download, you can leave messages and reviews. That'd be quite nice.
Mhm.
We're also on Facebook. Get in contact with us. It'd be cool to hear some of your feedback.
Definitely, we need to hear that, absolutely. We need to change.
We need to change.
We need to adapt and evolve.
Me and Danny need to change.
Be less offensive.
Hey, dear TLC podcast, less Helen Keller.
I like you guys, except when you're offending disabled people.
Oh my god. Yeah, we also have a website, tablesladdschairs.com, where you can listen to all of our podcasts. It's a sexy site, designed very well
Yeah.
by a dashing young man.
Thank you.
And we also have an email address you can contact us on, which is ask@tablesladdschairs.com.
Ask us anything personal as you wish.
Yeah, I mean, if you want relationship advice, drop it my way.
Oh, please drop it my way as well.
And mine.
Parking advice, send it to Danny.
And if you want to know facts about Helen Keller, drop it to me and Steff.
All right, then, folks. Thanks for listening. Danny, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ray, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, listeners.
I lost a memory card which we used to store this show on, and the keys to my flat, in the same hour.
And then
It's
within the same 24-hour cycle, we lost the podcast that we recorded.
Yes, to those who didn't know, which is
Ray.
everyone,
Ray's unlucky.
the podcast cut off about an hour in, so we're treading
Yeah, so you're not going to get all the funny jokes.
broken ground. Actually, I won't probably mention it. It's probably better if you don't mention it. But
Yeah.
I know people do, but let it be organic in a way,
Do it right at the end. Stinger, post credits. Can you stop doing
What
those?
supervillain would you be, Ray?
I would
I'll just
be
I'd
to
be-
subvert what this question is, as I always do.
You'd
I'd
be
be
Joseph Fritzl.
Trevor Slattery.
Oh.
He's the fake Mandarin from Iron Man 3. Ben Kingsley.
Why would you want to be him?
All he does is do drugs and drink all day and pretend to be a badass villain. Isn't that what we all do in our lives? That's not what we do in our lives at all.
No.
But I like it because it was one of the best twists. I really enjoyed
I
it.
was outraged.
Here
Of
we
course
go.
you were.
We thought you were all out of anger, but never mind.
I just remember that now, sitting in the cinema, and this specky goes, "I'm the Mandarin," and I was like, "I'll murder him."
What, Guy Pearce?
Yeah.
Guy Pearce is a beautiful man.
He's not as Becky.
In fact,
he's
was-
He's not the Mandarin either.